Israel's military power stands as one of the most advanced and battle-tested forces in the Middle East, while Qatar's armed forces, though extremely well funded and rapidly modernizing, remain small and reliant on alliances and imported technology. If we compare these two countries side by side, the difference is striking. Israel has built its defense system through decades of war, innovation, and survival against hostile neighbors, whereas Qatar has leveraged its vast natural gas wealth to purchase modern weaponry and host powerful allies, particularly the United States, on its soil. This means that Israel embodies independence, combat experience, and self-reliance, while Qatar represents strategic diplomacy, soft power, and financial influence rather than raw military dominance. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Now let us dive deeper into this comparison of Israel and Qatar's military power, looking at manpower, budgets, technology, air power, ground forces, naval capabilities, missile defense, intelligence, nuclear capacity, and strategic influence to fully understand how these two nations stand in today's geopolitics. When we begin with manpower, the gap between Israel and Qatar is immediately visible. Israel, with a population of nearly 10 million, enforces mandatory military service for both men and women, creating a national culture centered around defense. The Israel Defense Forces IDF consist of about 170,000 active soldiers and more than 450,000 reservists who can be mobilized rapidly in times of conflict, giving Israel a total force of well over 500,000. These troops are highly trained, accustomed to constant drills, and have faced real combat in wars with Lebanon, Gaza, and other regional adversaries. Qatar, in contrast, has a total population of under 3 million, and of that, only a small fraction are Qatari citizens since the majority are expatriates. This means Qatar can only maintain a standing force of roughly 12,000 to 15,000 personnel across its army, navy, and air force. Although Qatar has tried to expand recruitment and sometimes even employs foreign officers and advisors, its manpower is tiny compared to Israel's. In a direct conflict, Qatar would simply not have the numbers to sustain prolonged combat, while Israel could rely on its massive reserve system to keep fighting. Defense budgets also tell an interesting story. Israel spends around $24 billion annually on defense, supported not only by domestic resources but also by billions in annual U.S. military aid, making it one of the best-funded militaries relative to its population size. Israel's budget consistently accounts for about 5% of its GDP, showing how central security is to the nation. Qatar, being one of the wealthiest countries per capita due to its enormous natural gas reserves, spends about $11 billion annually on defense. Though smaller in absolute terms than Israel, this amount is still huge for a country of Qatar's size, making its per-soldier spending one of the highest in the world. Qatar buys some of the best equipment available from the West, fighter jets, tanks, and air defense systems. But unlike Israel, it does not produce its own weapons. Israel manufactures tanks, drones, missiles, and even satellites, giving it independence from foreign suppliers during wartime, whereas Qatar would face severe challenges if imports were cut off in a conflict. The Air Force comparison is another area where Israel clearly dominates. Israel's Air Force is legendary, operating more than 600 aircraft, including the cutting-edge F-35 stealth fighter, which only a handful of nations possess. Israel was the first country outside the U.S. to deploy the F-35 in combat, striking targets in Syria and elsewhere with stealth precision. Alongside the F-35, Israel flies advanced F-15 and F-16 fighters, refueling aircraft transport planes, and one of the most advanced fleets of drones and surveillance systems in the world. Israeli pilots are among the most experienced anywhere, flying real missions almost weekly. Qatar, though much smaller, has in recent years invested billions to purchase around 100 modern fighter jets, including French Rafales, Eurofighter Typhoons, and the F-15QA from the United States. This makes Qatar's fleet one of the most modern per capita in the Gulf. However, Qatar lacks the numbers, the combat experience, and the operational integration that Israel has mastered. Qatari pilots depend heavily on training provided by foreign partners, while Israeli pilots train domestically and in live combat situations. Thus, while Qatar's planes are impressive, Israel's Air Force remains vastly superior in numbers, skill, and operational readiness. Looking at ground forces, Israel again leads by a wide margin. The IDF fields hundreds of Merkava main battle tanks, domestically produced and combat, proven in Lebanon and Gaza. These tanks are supported by advanced armored personnel carriers like the Namur, artillery brigades, precision rocket launchers, and infantry divisions trained for both conventional and urban warfare. Israel has decades of battlefield experience and has refined combined arms tactics that integrate tanks, infantry, artillery, and air support seamlessly. Qatar's ground forces, by comparison, are small but well equipped. Qatar has purchased Leopard 2A7 tanks from Germany, among the most advanced in the world, along with modern armored vehicles. But the total number of tanks and heavy armor in Qatar's arsenal is very limited, perhaps just over 100 tanks, while Israel operates several hundred. Moreover, Qatar has never fought a major war, meaning its forces remain untested. Israel's army, despite its smaller size compared to giants like the U.S. or Russia, is regionally dominant due to its battlefield experience and constant readiness. In terms of naval power, Israel is modest but highly capable. The Israeli Navy operates SAR-class corvettes, fast missile boats, and most importantly, Dolphin-class submarines equipped with cruise missiles believed to be nuclear capable. This submarine fleet gives Israel a second strike nuclear capability, which is a huge strategic advantage. The Navy also protects Israel's Mediterranean gas platforms and coastline. Qatar's Navy, however, is focused on coastal defense. It has a handful of patrol vessels, corvettes, and offshore protection ships, with new acquisitions from Italy and Turkey. Its primary mission is to safeguard its energy infrastructure in the Gulf. Qatar does not have submarines, long-range naval strike capability, or power projection ambitions. In a naval clash, Israel's submarine fleet alone could tilt the balance heavily in its favor. Missile defense is an area where Israel shines like no other. Its multi-layered defense system is famous worldwide. Iron Dome intercepts short-range rockets with a high success rate. David's sling counters medium-range threats, and the Arrow system is designed for long-range ballistic missiles. These systems have been tested repeatedly in real conflicts, saving lives and protecting cities. Qatar has invested in American Patriot missile batteries and is exploring systems like THAAD, but its defenses are limited compared to Israel's proven network. In a real war, Israel's layered shield would give it a huge edge in protecting its cities and military infrastructure, while Qatar's smaller system might quickly be overwhelmed. Cyber warfare and intelligence add another dimension. Israel is recognized as a cyber superpower with Unit 8200, its elite cyber and intelligence division, developing tools used for both defense and offense. Israeli companies export cyber technologies globally, and its intelligence agencies, Mossad and Ammon, are among the most feared and respected worldwide. Israel has conducted countless covert operations, assassinations, sabotage missions, and intelligence gathering, proving its global reach. Qatar's intelligence, in contrast, is more focused on political influence, using wealth to support groups, fund media like Al Jazeera, and act as a mediator in regional disputes. While Qatar has modern cyber systems and contracts with private firms, it lacks the offensive cyber and espionage capabilities of Israel. Perhaps the biggest difference lies in nuclear weapons. Israel maintains a policy of ambiguity, but is widely believed to possess 80 to 200 nuclear warheads deliverable by aircraft, ballistic missiles, and submarines. This makes Israel the only nuclear power in the Middle East. Nuclear weapons provide Israel with ultimate deterrence, ensuring its survival against larger hostile coalitions. Qatar, on the other hand, has no nuclear program or weapons, and relies entirely on alliances for protection. This nuclear gap means that Israel holds a strategic advantage Qatar could never match on its own. Yet, Qatar's strategy for survival is clever. Rather than trying to rival Israel militarily, Qatar has positioned itself as a global player through wealth, diplomacy, and hosting allies. The U.S. Al-Udeid Air Base in Qatar hosts thousands of American troops and advanced aircraft, making it the largest U.S. base in the Middle East. This guarantees Qatar's protection against major threats, as any attack on Qatar would immediately involve American forces. Qatar also uses its wealth to influence conflicts, invest globally, and host negotiations, from Taliban talks to regional peace initiatives. This soft power gives Qatar influence far beyond what its small military could achieve. Israel, meanwhile, remains focused on hard power, deterrence, and readiness for war. In conclusion, Israel clearly surpasses Qatar in every military category: manpower, technology, combat experience, self-reliance, nuclear weapons, cyber warfare, and overall readiness. Israel could fight and win wars independently, while Qatar cannot survive militarily without its allies. However, Qatar does not aim to compete directly with Israel. It plays a different game, one of diplomacy, wealth, and alliances. Both models have made these nations powerful in their own ways. Israel as a fortress state and military innovator, Qatar as a wealthy mediator and host of global powers. This comparison shows that while Israel holds overwhelming military dominance, Qatar's survival and influence depend on strategies beyond the battlefield, proving that in the modern Middle East, power comes not just from weapons, but also from alliances, wealth, and diplomacy.